welcome into another edition of Mountaineer Mafia. I'm going to change it up a little bit this week and have some moving pictures here in the background, see if that works out any better. So last week, obviously, we played Idaho, and we had a team that played two completely different halves. This is actually the type of game that I thought we would play 2 weeks ago against New Mexico State, where we would start off a little slower off the bye week and turn it on a little bit more in the second half and start to pull away. I didn't really pull away from Idaho, don't get me wrong, but it was more of the type of game I thought we'd see 2 weeks ago more than just last week. I really thought they would have come out with more of a fire and a passion after the all-around disappointment they had as far as, you know, a full game being played against New Mexico State. I don't think anybody was happy with that performance. I thought they would have come out and started a little bit hotter than we did against Idaho. I think it really turned the corner right here in the second half after that quick interception, and I think that really lit a fire under everybody and then really set this team in motion to do what they did and score those 23 unanswered points to take the victory. I actually thought the defense looked pretty good. They were obviously put into bad situations multiple times due to field position and turnovers. So I thought they actually performed pretty well throughout the game, even though it looks, you know, like they're part of the team as far as the first half stats go, which was 0 points, obviously. And by now we all know that Terrence Upshaw has been lost for the season. I think that's a huge blow to our team and obviously our running back core. I think he just brought a fire and intensity that I haven't seen out of an App State running back in quite some time, and I haven't been following the team for as long as a lot of you, but for as long as I have been following them, I just haven't seen a running back with the intensity that he plays the game with. So I think it's a big blow that hopefully we can, you know, come back from, but I think it'll be an obvious one for a little while until we can get it set up. It's good we play the next two opponents as weaker ones to kind of set this next big running back to come behind Jalen to, you know, have a little bit of time before we get into some of the meatier part of the schedule at the end of the season here. I think once we allowed Taylor to throw a little bit more often, this game against Idaho really opened up, and I know a lot of the times he didn't throw in the first half was more due to the poor starting field position. It was more of a, you know, try and run to get out of the front of your end zone than try and pass out of there. So I understand the reasoning behind it, but obviously the running game wasn't working tremendously, so the passing game had to develop, and it did here in the second half. Ike Lewis came up with another big game for us. It's nice to see him come up with another big one like that. Eric Boggs and T. Sims also anchored the defense, and both of them just played lights out and came up big numerous times, especially Boggs' forced fumble that he had late in the game. And then on to this week, we'll welcome the Beach Chickens, Coastal Carolina, up to the high country. It'll be interesting to see how many fans they bring this weekend, mainly because of their record being 1-5 and also their first season in the belt. Maybe, you know, a lot of people don't remember they ever even played us before. It'll be interesting to see how many people they bring up. Like I mentioned, overall they come in at 1-5, with their lone win coming against a UMass team that we actually end up playing next week. They also have a really bad loss to Western Illinois, a team we've seen in the FCS playoffs previously. They lost to them 52-10 earlier this year. They actually score a decent amount of points at just over about 25 points a game, but they give up almost twice as many as we do defensively, so they're giving up almost 40 points a game. So we already know where their weakness is. Their offense goes through their running game. Abercrombie is their running back. That's right, that is Abercrombie, his last name. He's also from Greenwood, South Carolina, a little interesting tidbit that I picked up through some research that I was doing. He has amassed 437 yards and 4 touchdowns. However, he hasn't hit pay dirt in 4 weeks. He's built a lot like Duckworth was for this Idaho team last week, so it'll be interesting to see how well we can contain him. So I'm going to sense that we're going to see a lot of the same style of running because of the size similarity between what we saw from Duckworth last week and what we'll see from Abercrombie this week. Tyler Keene is their quarterback, and he's a hometown boy from Myrtle Beach. He's not really a big quarterback. He stands at just 5'9", so that means he's about a full 3 inches shorter than Taylor. And we obviously can see from clips in the past how small Taylor looks at times depending on who we're playing that week. But he's a small quarterback for this level. He's had a couple big games, but he was completely shut down last week against Arkansas State. And as we've just seen recently, Arkansas State is maybe top in the class as far as defense goes in the conference. Obviously, we're not going to get a head-to-head matchup this year, but they're really good. So it'll be interesting to see. He also hasn't thrown an INT in 2 weeks. I'd like to see Duck and Hayes take a shot at changing that. And I think they've got a good shot at it this weekend. Their wide receivers core is similar to ours. It's not always the same guy coming up with one big game. It's kind of spread out a little bit. If you had to pick one, I've kind of picked out Malcolm Williams, who's got 21 receptions for 438 yards with 2 touchdowns to go with that. However, 266 of those yards and the 2 touchdowns for the season all came against one team. He did that against Louisiana Monroe about 2 weeks ago now. To note on the defense, Silas Kelly. He's a freshman linebacker to watch out for. He's all over the stat sheet every week, and he's pretty big. At a freshman, he's come in at 6'4", 225 pounds. So I'm guessing he's probably going to be one of the most obvious defenders to keep an eye out for on Saturday. Just a last little note before we leave here. We have yet to play anyone higher in the conference, sitting at 8th place. So we haven't played anybody of note, even within what most people consider to be a bad Sun Belt conference. This week, Coastal comes in sitting at 11th currently out of 12 teams. So I think we need to sit here and focus on the passing game. We know that's where they're weak at defensively. We need to work those tight ends back into the passing game. Even though the passing game opened up a little bit last week, we did get a tight end to get a touchdown. I still think we can use them more. And let's try and make this game look as close to Savannah State as possible, both in score and just the way the game felt. Like it was never close, it was never in doubt. We've had too many of these close ones lately. I would like to see us change that. I know a lot of us would like to see us change that this weekend, and I think we can do it. I think we win big, and just keep trucking along here in the conference before we get into the meatier part of it here in the next few weeks. So enjoy the game Saturday, and until next time, see you later. Go Mountaineers!